Okay, so let's continue with exponential growth and decay. Let's just dive into this example. It says a house is worth $300,000. It loses 6% of its value every year. Write an equation to represent the scenario. So we know that y equals a times b to the x is our exponential growth or decay general formula. So let's start to build this. So remember, a is your initial value, so y equals 300,000. Now b, this is where it gets tricky. If the original value 300,000 were to not change, if the value of the house were to not change, it would just be 1, right? 1 times 300,000, still 300,000. But it's saying that it loses 6% of its value every year. So losing means that we want to subtract, and 6% as a decimal would be 0.06, and then raised to the x power. Now let's define our variables. X represents number of years that are passing, and then y represents the value of the house represented in dollars. So now that we have the general formula for this scenario, let's go ahead and answer part A to start. So we're just going to plug in. Now, first of all, 1 minus 0.06, if you want to condense that, we actually just get 0.94. So you can just reduce what's in the parentheses. And then raise to the, instead of x, we're looking for what's happening in 4 years. So if we type that into our calculator, let's see what we get. I got $234,224.69. All right, so that's the value of the house in 4 years, assuming that it's losing 6% of its value every year. So let's try part B. It says, how much value does the house lose from its original value in 7 years? So notice a little bit different what it's asking. How much value does the house lose from its original value in 7 years? So if we plug in 7, let's see what we get. I got $194,543.28. Right? But that's not answering the original question. The original question is, how much value does the house lose? This is how much the house would be worth in 7 years. So how much value does it lose? Well, we have to subtract how much it's worth now from the original 300,000. So again, a little bit different of a question than the original part A. So I got that when we subtract, that the house lost $105,456.72. So that would be your final answer. Okay, let's try one more example. Okay, so it says an antique car is worth $15,000. Every year it gains 2.5% of its value. Write an equation to represent the scenario, and how much will the car be worth in 15 years? So now, if you notice, different than the first example, it's gaining value. So you can hopefully maybe predict how that would change how we set up our equation. So we still have our initial value as 15,000. Now our B, our kind of base value is 1. If it's gaining 2.5%, that means we want to add that percent. And we want to add it represented as a decimal, which would be 0.025. And then raised to the x. And again, x represents number of years in this case, and y represents the value of the car in dollars. So how much is it going to be worth in 15 years? Well, since x represents the number of years, just plug 15 in for x. And again, if we wanted to reduce the stuff in parentheses, we get 1.025 raised to the, instead of x, 15. And now again, let's go ahead and type that into your calculator and see what we get. So I got $21,724 and about 47 cents.